Good morning. Hey, going to show you my method of butchering a snowshoe hare. I know there's a bunch of different types of rabbits out there. I've only have experience with snowshoe hares. I understand they're a little bigger than cottontails, but I'm not sure how they relate to other rabbits around the country. Yesterday we had a pretty good day. We have got some rabbits here, and bear with me, I'm not really a movie maker, but I'll give it a try. Here we have the snowshoe hare. As you see, I have it suspended from the ceiling over my kitchen sink, and it's a good way to do it. Just a note to self that you want to make sure you do a good cleanup afterwards so your wife is still happy with you. Alright. So, snowshoe hare's hide is pretty easy. You can rip it right with your fingers to start with. So I start right at the top of the legs, and I just pull the fur away from the hide. And then, you always have to have a bucket to put the stuff in. You don't want it. But I work it down the leg, and get my fingers underneath it, and work it down the outside of the hips. Right, trying to work it right around the tail. And I get my finger through on the hide, and around the back of the tail, and I cut the tail off. I don't know if I think I got that in the video well. Let's see. And then it's a matter of getting a hold of the other end. And this is where you can often find the, not that you couldn't before, but you definitely would know if it's a male or a female once you get to this part. And if it is a male, well, it makes me scream every time I do it. But you gotta like cut them off. Yeah, sorry folks, it's tough. But then I continue pulling the hide right down. I still got that in the video. Let me see, tip it down just a little bit. There you go. And you can see this has been shot up a little bit. And just like you gotta turn a sock inside out, what I'm looking for is to get right down there below this front elbow. Then work your fingers around the back of that and open that up. Open that up. And just clean up. And then a little bit of water, cold water, just to take the hair that you need to get. I know it's a snowshoe hare, but we don't want to eat the hair off the hair. So, the fur. And you don't have to do it a lot. Just enough to wet it out. Alright, how are we doing? Everyone's looking at that? Very good. I'm going to tip you up just a little bit. There you go. So I start at the legs. I mean, the front leg, excuse me. I need down a little bit. Alrighty. Then, obviously the knife you just used, you also have to rinse that off. Don't want the hair on that either. So, but this little front arm, you reach right in by the elbow and you can feel the bone. And you put your pointing knife right in just above the bone and work it right up toward like the shoulder. And once you get to the shoulder, twisting the knife to bring that off, and then grab a hold of it and pull the rest of it out. Oh my goodness, I got a phone call. I think my wife's gonna answer it.
Hello?
So the bone is exposed,
Hello?
and you can put your knife underneath the bone that you just had and work that up to the shoulder blade. And this is where
Oh, I didn't recognize your voice down. I'm sorry.
you're a little fur on me.
And I didn't realize it was on. That's all right. I just,
So,
you know, Dad's doing a video of skinning a rabbit. So he's,
so then you get a little bit of meat there.
can we call you?
And afterwards I'll show you what we get for meat. But,
Okay, we'll do that.
and
All right, we love you.
so a lot of people like
Bye.
talk about having the rabbit legs and stuff. This is just a way of taking the meat off of the rabbit, so that so you can do a different method. See, this rabbit's got a little bit of fat on him. Not much. Rabbits don't have a lot of fat. This is a nice healthy one. And you can feel the blade of like the shoulder blade. And if you run your knife right down the top of that first blade, you guys still seeing this? Yeah. And then once you get to the bottom, roll your knife out. And then once again, you're going to grab a hold of it and work your way down. And you end up with that piece of meat on the front of the shoulder, and then on the back of the shoulder. You do the same thing. It's a little smaller piece of meat. I always did a method: if it's less than a mouthful, don't bother with it. So, and there's the other piece, the back of the shoulder. And I'm just doing this one side. Usually I would do one side then the other, but for the video purposes, I'm going to do one whole side. And what I call the pecs of the rabbit are right here on the chest. And oftentimes they get stove up by being shot, but if you pinch that and run your knife underneath, you can take that off, and that makes a nice piece of meat. I will show you, if you get one that's shot up a bit, what you can do about it. But basically, if it's shot up too much, I don't mess with it. But if you look at the back of that rabbit, you can almost see the white line of the silver skin there. My wife and I call it silly skin. And if you run the point of the knife, start at about, I don't know, a little less than halfway up, and follow that white line just to cut that outside silly skin. And if you notice, when it gets near the hips, it widens out like an hourglass. But if you follow that right along, and obviously when I do it, I do both sides, but so I'll do the other side right here, because it's a good opportunity to show you how to. And then I'll flip my knife over, and of course you want your hand away from the knife. Put your hand above and work it right down to the shoulder blades. And it's just putting the tip in, not anything more. So once I had that, you can see that outside layer of silver skin starts to peel back. So right along where the hips come together, I'll slice that right through to the backbone on both sides. And then I'll work that outside silver skin right off, just with my thumb. And then just like you guys have done back straps, and I'll find the backbone with my knife, work it in, and then follow that little bit of rib right out. And then once I get it out enough, I can grab it with my other hand. And if you see that, see how that's, once I get that started, I just run my knife right down the backbone with a little bit of pressure, maybe occasionally turning it away. And that works right down nicely to the shoulder blade. And you end up with this nice piece of back strap. But I want to address the bloody part. You see, that's where a pellet went through. And people don't want to eat that. I don't eat that. So what I do is I put it on a cotton board, and I find where that is, and I'll just cut that piece right out. And I know it's a little bit of wasting meat, but it makes it way much better to enjoy. Because there's nothing ruins a good rabbit recipe meal than to bite into a pellet. Not to mention what the blood may do to the flavor of the meat. But anything that's bloody, it's cut off and thrown into the. And by the way, anything that gets thrown in my bucket goes onto a bait pile for coyotes, so it doesn't go to waste. You see how that was bloody and now it's all cleaned off, and we still leave that little bit of that underlayer of silver skin right on it. All right, so that was the bloody side. People have their own ways of doing. Like that was easy for my right hand because I'm right-handed, but I'm pretty ambidextrous, so I found that if I switch the knife to my left hand to do the other side, and I know of people that all they do is they do it from upside down, and you work that, you know, it's the same thing. It's a practice issue. Get that out to the outside edge, grab that back strap, and slightly pull on it. Keep working your knife down through, and as you see, it doesn't always go perfect. But work that out. Check that over for like bloody pieces that you don't want. Yeah, this rabbit got shot pretty good. So anyways, like I said, don't be greedy. Cut the damaged meat away. In the long run, you'll be glad. So, sorry folks, I'm taking some time on this one. And I showed some other people how to do this, and then I realized that after they attempted it, that I've been doing it long enough that I do it pretty efficiently. But you guys are butchers, you would know. Alright. So, as you see, I still didn't do the shoulder, but I'm going to come back to it. I want you to see what I do to the back legs here. I can move this up a little bit, maybe. There we go. Alright. So, the anatomy there's like a little cheek of meat right on the hips there, and I'll work my knife right into that cheek, and I often come back over from the top of it again, and anyhow, gives you that nice little piece of meat. And and then I'll just outline around just below the tail. But then on this part, I'll run my knife right up to the hip joint, and I'll work it right up just outside of the groin on the hip, right to the back part. And like I say, do that little, and then this is the, wow, that's kind of cool. Is this like thigh, you know? And I'll run my knife just below the knee and go right into till I hit the bone, and work my way down the bone. And well, this bone's a little bit damaged. And there again, there's a lot of blood there. Don't be greedy. Cut it off. And I'm kind of on a tripod, so you're not actually seeing what I'm doing, other than I'll show you afterwards. As you see, now that piece of meat's all clean, and the rest of it goes into the bait pile bucket. Every so often, you need to rinse your hands. We don't want that blood either. Alright, well, I wanted you to see that, but let me do this other side, same way, because there's something I want to show you guys. I got that up to the hip, work that out, pinch at the kneecap, and I didn't know that I was been shot, so that was why that came to be like that. You see, there's a side that had, oh, there's a little bit of blood there. Sometimes you can just work that off. I think it was bleeding just under the hide on that one. But anyhow, I cut off what we can. I suppose you could just wash it off, but I'm just like, just cut it off. Alright. So what I wanted to show you is, after I've reached the thigh, the bone there, and I was going to show this one, but it was busted. Because I'll run my knife behind that, pointed upward, and I'll work my knee right behind the knee, kind of holding it in next to the bone once you get past the knee, till you get right up above where the calf turns into an Achilles tendon, and then work your way knife out, and you cut that off, and then work your way down the bone, if I switch this around, and there's like a hip bone right near the tail that you gotta come on the outside of. It's deceiving that it's there, but you'll find it. It's right where my finger's pointing. I don't know if you can see that. So, and then work this right out, both sides. And I'm careful. If you notice, this is something I do, you don't have to. There's a bunch of big veins right there, if you can see them on my knife. And I'm careful try not to cut those. If you do, you can take them out after. But anyways, I'll work that right down the meat and cut them off so that, you know, it's just something, you could eat it. You see, there's the nice tender leg meat that everybody craves for, without the bone. And I forgot to do the cheek on this one. I'll do it afterwards. You can do it after. Alright, so after you've done the calf, there's a little bit of meat in front of the calf. Once again, if you put your knife in next to the bone, work it up, work it down. A smaller rabbit you might not get very much. This one being a bigger rabbit, it's still a mouthful. Alright, so bear with me and I'll finish up this other side, just so I can show you what else I do. Back doing I usually would have all the shoulders done before I get up there. I got ahead of myself. Anything bloody I don't mess with. Yeah, nice big hunk of meat on the front arm there. Hunk of meat. I don't know if that's if I'm giving away where I'm from. I live in Maine. I love seeing this, all the stuff that you guys do down south that you're butchering. I just didn't know maybe I'd add something. Anyhow, we got the other peck to do. Sometimes you don't always get pecks because that seems to be an area that is shot. But this one got shot in the back leg, evidently. If you ever been snowshoe hare hunting and you come to Maine, I recommend you book a trip with an outfitter and go give it a try. It's a fun time. Alright, so I'm going to finish this other leg. Now this has got a broken bone, so I got to be more careful. And I might just start, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'll go in deeper so that I don't get some of that blood, and do the same action just further out on the body to try to see. I'm leaving that because I know it's bloody, you know. And I can cut it off afterwards, but if I can do it beforehand, why not? Right? And see, we're trying to save that big vein, and you don't have to. That's just something I do. And you see, I went deep, and there's a little bit of, see, like that big bloody section? I gotta cut that off. If it's real bloody, I just cut the whole thing off. And I think that's the case with that one. The whole thing, like I said, it don't pay to be greedy, because you'll spoil the whole batch. See, there we go, after cutting that out. Oop, gotta check it over. There's another little piece right there I gotta get. Eliminate. I know, waste not, want not, but you also gotta make it suitable for eating. And some people say you can soak that or rinse it in water. It just isn't the same. I wouldn't. And that's the only rabbit you get. You're trying to get every little piece out of it, sure. But hopefully you get a lot of rabbits. You can be a little generous. In Maine, there's a limit for each person, 4 a day. You go with a bunch of people. And not that you always get a limit, but couple, 3, and what we do is we take these pieces and freeze them, save them up. Oh, and I got one more thing to show you. Now if you notice, I've done this whole thing. Oop, let me get back down here. There we go. This whole thing, and I haven't had to see the guts yet. I don't know if you've ever seen rabbit guts, but there's a lot of them, and when those pellets go through them, it makes a mess. So this is a gutless method. If you notice, all the guts have not been exposed yet. But this one little thing I'm going to do. Alright. Hey, I don't know what happened, but the camera shut off just as I was going to show you how to get the tenderloins out. I think I mentioned, and I'm not sure how I'm going to dub this, but so far we've had this rabbit. Oh, by the way, this is a different rabbit because I didn't know that it skipped that part until after I looked at it again. But the way to get the tenderloins out, I think this is right where it ended, is you cut a little hole in the abdomen. Careful not to get the intestines and whatnot. Did I get that aimed right? Yeah, not bad. Alright. You open that up a little bit, and if you can see right there, see the tenderloin, and there's the intestine that you don't want to mess with. But then using your thumbs, you work your thumb right behind the backbone, and get your finger through, and then work your finger down, and all the while pulling outward, and then pull down, and look at that. Oops, there we go. Look at that. You get that tenderloin out, and you still haven't had to look at any guts or anything. And then the same on the other side. Finger down. It's really pretty tender. You don't even need a knife. There's the other one right there. And some people just shave those up and have them by themselves. Anyhow, this rabbit wasn't as shot up as the one I did in the video, but I wanted to, it got shot in this area. But I wanted to give you an all around look at what it was. Anyhow, sorry about that. Camera just decided it wanted to shut us off. I don't know why. you got this or not, but that's one rabbit's worth of meat. I found that typically, on average, because some rabbits are bigger than others, 2 rabbits makes a pound of burger. The burger meat will make the best tacos you've ever had. Anything with an acidic type recipe works really well with the rabbit. Like obviously tomato sauces, you know, lasagna, spaghetti. My wife makes this cranberry rabbit, and always there's the recipes like Hassan pepper and things like that that delicious. So, anyways, get back to the rabbit here. So now I turn the rabbit back inside right, so because before you don't have to, but if it's going on the bake pile, if it looks as natural as possible, right? So, but I wanted to show you. See, like this is a pretty decent leg, and the other one's not so much. So what I'll do is I'll take my handy dandy pliers. I got that so you can see it. Hopefully, I guess I gotta come up just a little bit. There we go. Alright, and you can work that off, but I find if I just cut that off right there, right through the bone. And then, obviously I'm holding it up, but then work this hip right off. And what we'll do is, that part right there, hang on, let me set this down and I'll show you what I'll do with it in a minute. But then, obviously I gotta get this other leg untied. The one I'm not gonna keep. Anyways, this goes into the, see how it actually looks ready for the coyote to eat and then get shot. Alright, and obviously that's gotta go too. Get the fur off my hand. But what my wife will do is you'll save up the bone parts, what she's looking for, of the rib. And we found the rear legs, that way you don't have to mess with the guts. We'll fold that up, and as you see, we've been saving them for a bit, and we'll save that. See, there's still a little bit of meat on there in the bone, and when we get a full bag full, she'll boil that down and make a rabbit bone stock with that for recipes and whatnot. So we really do try to get everything we can off it. And we just put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in the freezer. Long, ugly claws. But I want you to see, this is a pack of the rabbit burger that we've already frozen that she'll take out. We like 1 pound packages. Press them flat, alright, everyone knows that. But about approximately 2 rabbits makes a pound of meat. Good stuff. A bunch of recipes, I'm sure you can find them online. And I hope this video was helpful for you. I'm not a professional video doer, so did what I could. Thank you very much. God bless.